Ashli Babbitt, we hope this is good news. Of course, you know Ashli Babbitt if you watch this show. She was an American military veteran shot and killed on January 6th in a completely and totally unjustified shooting. It was, we believe, murder, completely unjustified. And her family, well, they deserve so much more. That should not have happened. She should be alive right now. How do you bring justice for Ashli? Well, we hope this is going to lead to some good news. There is a report that there is an agreement in principle between the estate of Ashli Babbitt, her family, with the Department of Justice. They're moving towards some sort of settlement agreement. That would be great if it is sufficiently generous to the estate after what they have been through. Let's go through what we know so far. The agreement in principle, the Babbitt family did sue for $30 million. A family lawyer is indicating that they will probably sign a formal settlement within 3 weeks. Negotiations may be ongoing right now. It's fascinating to me how so few have remembered and commemorated her life. The President of the United States, it's great when he does it. A handful of lawyers and a handful of us in the conservative media, excluding Fox, by the way, whereas George Floyd is household name famous, right? George Floyd, that mass uprising for a career criminal, drug addict, part-time porn star. Nothing wrong with that part of it, I guess, but everything else, and they destroyed the country almost in the name of social justice and pretended that this stuff was nice and beautiful and safe. It wasn't. And this man was commemorated with over-the-top funerals, heads of state, statues. I mean, it goes on. We rearranged society because of this thug, who, oh, by the way, was not killed by Derek Chauvin. It's another host of lies about his death. Look at that, a gold casket. While we were shut down in COVID, right? That funeral happened, and heads of state did attend, and it was on all the networks. All the networks. We are a very strange country when it comes to matters of race, huh? He had all the status in the world, allegedly taken by a white cop, a black man, whereas Ashli Babbitt, not too much status. As a white woman, no. What's that word they came up with? Karen, right? A Karen, that kind of thing. She has so much to atone for. You know why they went after white women? Because they voted for Trump. Because the majority of them voted for Trump. She was killed by Michael Byrd in the Capitol on January 6th. You know it and I know it. It was completely unjustified. We'll prove it again. But also this is unjustified. The way, to the extent she was acknowledged by the media, they lied about her. And they called her awful things that weren't true.
But Ashli Babbitt, an insurrectionist, is a hero.
Surrounding the death of one of those insurrectionists, Ashli Babbitt.
Lester Holt's exclusive interview with the officer who shot insurrectionist Ashli Babbitt on January 6th.
A gunshot fired by a Capitol police officer killed Ashli Babbitt, an insurrectionist who tried to climb through.
Trump attacked the police officer who shot insurrectionist Ashli Babbitt.
Babbitt was a January the 6th rioter. She was an insurrectionist who stormed the Capitol.
No, she didn't, and no, she wasn't. She was peaceful, she was calm, she was orderly, she did what the cops told her to do. And here she is, on January 6th, right there in the middle of it all, having fun, engaging, listening to a speech, being escorted by the police down the street to visit the Capitol. This was all orchestrated, this was all allowed. And the police let people inside. Yes, they absolutely did. And here she is, once she's on the inside. You know, when they say, oh, they said it was like a tourist event. Well, that actually looks like a tourist event. There she is, circled, taking a video. They're not marauding. They're not rioting. They're walking right through those stanchions. It's incredible. George Floyd, career criminal, drug dealer. Ashli Babbitt, American military veteran. You know what they said about George. You heard what they said about Ashli. And again, the race thing. This is kind of a race thing. It wasn't just Ashli. It's white women all over the place.
This is a typical case of a white womaning, right? So we see the disrespect, we see the privilege.
White women have taken an active role in the maintenance of white supremacy.
When you're a white woman and you're a Republican, there's just certain stuff culturally that you don't know jack bleep about.
My advice to white women is mind your own goddamn business.
So with this backdrop, with this sick culture, you can say things like that in public and everything's fine. You can see how a culture would try to say the murder of a white woman was somehow justified. It wasn't. Ashli Babbitt was trying to stop the violence on January 6th. Can we see? Here she is, actually pleading with the cops at one point. She's not harming anybody. We know that she confronted a man who had just broken a window, told him to stop, get out of here. Well, not only was she shot, there's a lot more than just this bullet that was fired. It was the misbehavior and the failure of police across the board. Like, why did the police officers just walk away, walk off their post, and set up the conditions for her to be shot? They could have stopped the whole thing. They didn't. Just keep an eye on those cops. Nobody's harming them. It's a tense situation, but they're not being hit or anything, right? Keep watching.
We want you to go home. I'm recording, and there's so many people. It's just, they're going to push their way up here.
And here they are about to take a coffee break at the moment of truth. They are not properly relieved, but they're going to walk off their post. Watch.
We don't want That's what I'm saying. We'll make a path, bro. Please, just let us make a
What, are they afraid? Because they're about to leave. Too loud for you guys? Da-dup, 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 da-dup. And then all hell breaks loose. And we're just a couple of seconds from Ashli Babbitt being shot. Now watch those cops against the wall. Watch them. They're about to duck. They're getting down. You see that? Why? Because there's a gun present. That's Bird's gun right there. And the cops are ducking. Why don't they pull people away? They don't. You hear any warnings, by the way? No. So it's more than just a simple murder. It's the highest form of negligence. It's absolutely crazy. And this to be justified by anybody or ignored, this probably should have prompted mass protests in and of itself. President Trump would often say, could you imagine if the race roles were somehow different? So Bird shoots Ashli Babbitt. We know that. We know that. And there are some other things that we'll show you in a moment. But what Bird said about this, well, number one, we catch him in a lie. We know he's, not very smart given his record. Watch this.
When you fired, what could you see? Where were you aiming?
You're taught to aim for center mass. The subject was sideways, and I could not see her full motion of her hands or anything. So I guess her movement, caused the discharge to fall where it did.
And what did you think this individual was doing at that moment?
She was posing a threat.
Not a deadly threat. That's the key thing. Posing a threat, how? How? A person in a doorway is not a deadly. You can't fire. There isn't a law in America that can justify that. There isn't. Next.
As I said, your name has been on the internet for some time in an unofficial way. A lot of rumors, a lot of accusations, one of which is that you had some sort of political motive. You were a political operative.
I do my job for Republican, for Democrat, for white, for black, red, blue, green.
Well, he didn't do his job very well. In fact, take a look at this. He was a problem cop who should have been fired. In 2004, he fired a gun in his neighborhood. Somebody stole a car, so he starts shooting up the car as it drives away. You're not allowed to do that, okay? I think they teach you that at the police academy. Next, please. In 2015, he was written up for a baseball game confrontation with a fellow officer. He went berserk on a fellow officer. And in 2019, 1 month suspension because he lost his gun in the public bathroom. He left his gun on the toilet seat. Yet they let him keep that badge. And then his first reaction after killing Ashli Babbitt is to lie about it on the radio. This is a full minute after he shot her. Listen.
We got shots fired in the lobby. We got shots fired in the lobby of the House chamber. Shots are being fired at us, and we're prepared to fire back at them. We have guns drawn. Don't make sure we leave that in. Don't leave that in.
We've got shots fired. He's the one who fired the shots. See how he's trying to mislead people? His first impulse is to mislead. He killed Ashli Babbitt. And the military treated her horribly, by the way. She deserved a military funeral. They didn't give her one. And here's Ashli Babbitt being dragged away, tracked away, upside down, essentially. She has a wound in the neck. And look at how they're holding her, like a wheelbarrow, neck down. That's how they take her out. So it's not just Byrd and his bullet. It's these guys, too. You can't do that to a human being, especially if you've taken an EMT course or two. There she is in the Iraqi desert with General Abizaid, a 4-star general. How about that one, huh? Were you in the Iraqi desert? Were you, Byrd, ever in the Iraqi desert? I wonder. So this disgrace is just brushed aside, right? January 6th is the worst thing that ever happened, right? Worse than 9/11 and Pearl Harbor combined. They have primetime hearings and they don't even mention her name. Instead, they celebrate this foolish woman, Cassidy Hutchinson. Remember her because she looked good in the white suit? And her ridiculous tall tales from the guy she gossiped with.
Tony described him as being irate. The president said something to the effect of, "I'm president, take me up to the Capitol now." To which Bobby responded, "Sir, we have to go back to the West Wing." The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol." Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel. And when Mr. Renato had recounted this story to me, he had motioned towards his clavicles.
His clavicles. What a moving story. Oh, Tony told me that Bobby told him that there was an argument 2 years ago. It breaks my heart about this country that they swooned over this BS story. Meanwhile, Ashli Babbitt gets dragged out like a wheelbarrow, bleeds out in police custody. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Are we crazy or something?